Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 29th of July. So what's set up today? Not a lot is a quick answer, but let's get on and look at what's going on today and this week. So today, Monday, not a lot is the answer in terms of data coming out, but we do have a busy week ahead. We do have, just looking here, coming up, we got for the Aussie dollar. Then Wednesday's the biggish day that's coming through. We got the inflation data on Wednesday for the Aussie dollar, which is quite key. Well, it's very key. Then we got the Bank of Japan, which will be sort of later in the Asian session, running through a press conference. We've got a bit of inflation coming through there, the flash inflation coming through for the Eurozone, although we've seen the individual numbers. ADP non-farms, we've got the Fed rate on Wednesday, nothing important then. The Bank of England rate on Thursday, which was no change of rate on Wednesday expected, but 1/4% on the Bank of England rate there expected. And then we move into Friday, non-farms. You don't get many busier days, busier weeks than this week, like in that respect. So let's get on and look at the technicals, and we'll be surprised if we didn't see them chop around and stall a little bit as we run into the week. People get a bit wary, but let's look at them anyway. The starting off with the euro dollar, and well, last week it did manage a little bit of a bounce. It was barely anything to shout about, and it's looking soft as we're coming off there. Very flag sort of picture there. Didn't get down to the levels I was looking for. I was looking for the daily 50 earlier in the week there, but I just strangled it. I tracked the stop down during the week and just strangled it in the end because it just wasn't going anywhere. So it didn't make me a massive amount of money, but it was just short than 1%. The price action at the moment, as I say, we've got this we do have a higher highs and higher lows just about. A break today of the pivot below the pivot, daily pivot, could see further downside towards those previous lows. We'll see how things develop there, but it is a mess. As I said at the beginning, it's quite choppy this morning. The pound, well, it's still in this downward trend. Solid down day on Friday. Seen a bit of a bounce and a nice move to the underside of the weekly pivot. I quite like the short side of this. Now a cut is priced in, but it might be priced in a bit more. It does look soft, and we could see an opportunity maybe. We'll see how things go post 8 o'clock on this, but it does look soft. The US dollar yen. So US dollar yen bouncing off of last week. Last week it bounced off its monthly S2, bouncing back there. It's just off its weekly now. I shorted this last week, and I could be into short it again this week. It has air kissed its weekly. We'll see again. See what happens this morning on this. It is a little bit slower. Not sure I like Friday's price action in between there, but it's confirmed a lower high since then. Just it'd probably be on a breakdown of the S1 if I was interested. We'll see how this develops. It might be sort of near-term bottom out. I mean, on Friday it had put a higher low in there, and we could see a more of a correction. We could be just seeing it like an AB and then push up for the C wave, but there is the potential of further downside there. Aussie dollar, it's particularly with Bank of Japan meeting this week, although it is pretty much priced in that they'll put an increase, but we'll see. Aussie dollar, further downside into Thursday, Friday, bounced a tad there. Well, again, we'll see what happens with inflation data. The inflation data was to come out a bit higher on Wednesday morning. There, we could see a bit of a reversal, but it was almost straight down. I would like to be selling into the weekly pivot if we get the opportunity. So that's really what I'm looking for here. There's nothing else on the shorter time frame. It's too messy. US dollar CAD. So the Canadian dollar's been running up there very strongly. Ended up positive on Friday even, but again, well, we double topped here. We could, if we break the weekly pivot there, I might expect more downside there. If we can just hold it, come back to the weekly pivot and show a bounce, I'd risk the long side on that. We'll see how it reacts. As I said, if it breaks the low between the two highs, generally that's an expectation of a continuation. Just normally by the depth of the distance. That's it. It's not throw the towel in time, but it was looking a bit softer on Friday, but it didn't end up that way. The dollar, that is. New Zealand dollar. Well, it's just really out of favour at the moment. We saw it with the sentiment, and it just looks like it could just break the lows here and continue the move. It's just consolidating around the lows. Yep, it's got some supply or some demand around that area, I should say. But we'll see how it develops. But I tried this on Friday actually, and it just didn't go. I ended up closing out before the news, slightly basically at scratch, slightly positive, but at scratch it just didn't do anything. Dollar Swissy, lower highs in here. That's the bigger picture here. We've off the weekly. Let's see what happens here. A break of the previous 4-hourly, the 2 o'clock pivot bar rather. Could see me getting a bit more interested in a continuation down towards its S1. So we'll see how that develops. It was trying to shape up the other way previously, but we'll see what develops there. So looking at the short side there, potentially short term. Yeah, it's got these high lows, high highs, but as I said, I would be waiting for that break. Basically, the break of the hourly 50 would be a point there. Now, if it just continues pushing up, well, I'll leave that. They're the majors, the cross pairs like the euro pound, with the euro just catching a bit of a bounce towards the second part of the week there, second half. It was a real game of two halves, but it's choppy and ugly here as it sits. We could, with the pound softening, see further upside here, but it's saying that euro softening against the dollar as well. Both are softening, but with the news this week, the pound could just soften off a little bit more as we run through. But there's no trade set up there for me. The euro yen, likewise, this is really choppy on the lower time frames. You come down here. One thing I don't like is it's consolidating away from the low, and it's making this horrible mess. It might yet push up there. I guess the dollar yen's in a similar case. Dollar yen just looks a little bit better set to me than this. On the intermediate time frames anyway. Okay, we'll see how things shape up on that. So not a lot at the moment. We might get more out. Let's have a look at gold. So gold here rallying into this morning earlier on. Friday, a good bar up there. Just looking at it from a 4-hourly picture, it starts breaking back below its weekly pivot. That would be, I mean, last week, look at that beautiful reversal bar there, nice move down. We could be seeing similar, but we'll wait for the close below the pivot for sure. Messy as anything, sitting through here. High lows, higher highs on the smaller time frame, which is, as I say, need to wait for a breakdown on there. We are currently above the pivot, which might see it draw it down a little bit as well. Okay, oil. So oil has continued. Oh, come on, just give me oil. Lower highs, lower lows here. Continue to sell off on Friday. We've seen a gap up by looks of things. On the lower time frames, it was showing a bit of a gap, but it looks like that's. No, the gap is still sitting there. Just. Let me just, yeah. We'll just check it. Just switch oils for a moment. Yeah, it's closed on the. Sorry, I was looking at Brent then. I just realised this is Western Texas. Yeah, coming off this morning at the moment, does look soft. I don't like going early in the morning. I prefer later in the day. You tend to get the bigger volume coming through, but it is looking softer at the moment. It needs to be below that daily pivot for me to be interested, but it's too early and I won't break my rules. S&Ps. Let's go back to daily there. So a bit of a continuation of the bounce we saw on Friday there. So it just snatched through the pivot a little bit on Thursday. Friday it's sort of given us a bit more of a bounce. So whether it can get any traction on this now, we've got a definite A, B, C corrections in the price action there. So that could be all, or if it starts breaking below its this week's pivot, well, perhaps there's a continuation. A lot of companies reporting this week. See, I was just looking a moment ago before I did the video. If I can bring that up for a moment, just scroll this down, and you get, if you can, there you go. All of those. So there's a stack of really big companies amongst all that. Some of the big tech stocks there are reporting. So just be aware if you're trading S&Ps. It's could be a volatile week ahead. Anyway, so as I say, there's a bit of an ABC correction. I haven't actually put the measures on there to see if that's a 1-to-1, but it looks pretty close to it, and it has bounced up pretty well since then. Nasdaq, similar picture we're seeing here, largely it says. So the correction has come off its right down to its S1 actually. So bigger correction, but the same sort of pattern, the little ABC. And the Dow, well, to a lesser degree, actually started picking up on Thursday. Friday, much more solid on the Dow there. DAX for this morning, for those trading the DAX, this is looking choppy on the lower time frame. It's not looking much better on the dailies here. Has done a bit of a pivot swing, which it's pushing up from here, but bit of a gap still sitting there, untouched weekly pivot. All these things could just see it draw back southbound, but well, we'll see. Break back above that daily R1. It hasn't hit the pivot. Could see it running up to the R2, and then we have a double top situation where so it could be a good target if it starts breaking through there post 8 o'clock. It is post 8 o'clock now. In a short while, give it more than 5 minutes though. The FTSE real turnaround there on Thursday. Quite a key reversal bar popped in there. Well, to say key reversal bar, and we saw it Friday just triggering through, pushing up there. With the cuts expected, this is always good for the equity markets, but depends on how many cuts are going to come through. I think there's a bigger expectation of at least 2 cuts this year now, so it's sort of giving it that boost for now, and looking reasonably bullish. However, well, could just continue on there today. It's got an untouched daily pivot, but start to roll down. That would be a point to potentially buy off of, but it looks like it might be going without us. Right, I shall leave it there. Wish you a great day's trading, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Bye for now.